Well, thank goodness all of you are back in the room, right? But to be honest, deep down I know that you all came to see her here, so I knew that even if I go with the first panel for 3 hours, you will all stay, Now, jokes aside, great. So let's start with a show of hands who does not have at least one of the Giving Woman items in their wardrobe. Anyone still doesn't have it? Or? Okay.
I will have to go shopping this time.
Anyone else does not have? Jennifer?
It's counted for personal wardrobe or the family wardrobe?
Okay, very good question. Must be consultant in the background, Please specify.
Whoever paid for it.
Yeah. So I think, the reason I'm asking this question is that the reason most of you do own something in your wardrobe is not just it's great product, it's UAE made, and it's not even that they donate a lot to charity. I think...
Oh, we do.
I know you do, yeah. But I think that's not even one of the reasons, why. I think all of us that been in the region, I've been there personally 12 years, I think all of us here that been in the region, I think we really do see that this brand, first of all, was not born just to make money, I think that all of you will agree, when these guys started, I think every single Facebook ad was Giving Women on my thing, so whether I liked it or not, I had to learn, what this brand is about. But I think you guys really do serve a brilliant purpose, and I think all of us who are from living in this region are very, very proud of your success, not just here, but your global success, So. And I think it's a great pleasure to have you here, on this Fireside chat, because brands that, Chanel's or Dior's or whatever else you take, Carrefour's or not Carrefour's, Union Corps, Etoile, all of us that been doing this maybe for centuries, we can actually say that the brand is built if you have the great team. And as your LinkedIn says, and that's why I actually even have a printout to quote it perfectly, Sabahatt's LinkedIn says, leadership starts with being a good human. So I would like to kick off this conversation, that first of all, that we have most of your products in our wardrobes here. So tell us more about what does it mean, what does it look in action of being a good human, and how does that, being a good human, makes you guys such a successful company, whenever I'm sure you're still struggling with startup sort of issues and funding and growth and constant pressure and competitions, since the Giving Woman there's about 100 copycats that came in the market. So what does it being a good human in the giving movement's, let's say, world looks like?
So I'm lucky and I'm blessed that I work in such an incredible company where our logo, what we stand for, is humanity in motion. And when it comes to being a good human being in leadership specifically, because that's what the question was tailored towards, with a show of hands, how many of us go home from if we have a bad day at work, we go home and we snap at our spouse or our partner or our kids?
That's human nature.
Exactly. So it happens to each and every single one of us because it's human nature, because we are human beings. So being a good human being as a leader means for leaders or line managers and leadership teams to actually look at their employees not just as employee IDs or human doings, but this is a full person. They have a personal life, they have a professional life, and the lines are blurred. That's why when we have a bad day at home, we bring it to the office. When we have a bad day at the office, we bring it at home, because the lines are completely blurred. So by being a good human as a leadership person or a line manager, you get to know your team. You get to know who they are, what ticks them, what are their dreams. We have a joke internally that you're not a good line manager if you don't know the kids' names of your employee or their pets' names or their spouses' names. We are human beings, we're full of emotions. So being a good human being is the most important element of a leader and the most simplest element. Treat everyone the way you would want to be treated. But we get so caught up on this, ROIs and AI and growth and bottom line and boards and everything that we forget about the human element that makes us humans in our people, that we expect to work night and day and try to make the purpose and the vision of the company come to reality. For what? So this is why being a good human being is the most important element in being a leader.
So I think definitely couldn't agree more. And then I think even as a startup, I'm sure you are fighting someone, matching someone's salary, someone
all the time.
All the time. I am sure you're fighting that. I want to work for company. I want to work for Total because it's a Total. I want to work for Union because they have a history. They have this. And it makes your life even harder, right? But so many of us sometimes take jobs, and maybe some of you know the reason I started my company because I actually couldn't survive in a job for more than 3 months, because I was like, I just can't, I either end up arguing or I have to do something what is, as you say, like shout on somebody because someone told me to be, ROI, and I'm like, but it's not my approach, I cannot, as a leader, I cannot, I'm very, let's say, authoritative, but I am not argumentative in the sense that, we're having a full-blown argument in the middle of a boardroom of swear words, But sometimes here, you do notice that it's very sometimes hierarchical, it's sometimes very like, who gets paid what, like when I came here, like some projects I got asked about passports of the people for me, like my husband, real case scenario, like CFO, the recruiter 12 years ago actually asked him if a female is okay. Now my husband being like unbelievably British, he's like, sorry, what do you mean? Like she's not ACE qualified or, you know what I mean? Like he's like, is that qualification? And he's like, the recruiter's like, no, are you okay? Because, she might have kids. My husband, comes home, he's like, can you believe it? I just got this, like he took it, he actually called his mother, he called his, every single partner that he worked for in Deloitte, he's like, can you believe it? I actually got the question asked like this. He didn't know what's the answer, because where we maybe came from, it was like, I don't know, like even at school, we didn't like have this debate, and I feel like, from my personal experience, I had to relive even what being human means, sometimes we hire here and everyone even brings their cultural norms, and it's just like, okay, maybe that's being human and where you come from is this, so I think it's constantly learning, but now, so they are lucky to have you as a leader, but not all of us in the jobs where this is the leadership, where the, like let's say HR or culture officer. What I like about you that it's actually chief people and culture officer. So sort of on the next question, I'd like to kind of poke a bit more. You have a purpose, right? So how you guys donate and how, I'm sure like even how you all lead within an organization. But how do you, in an earlier panel, we touched a lot on the commercial goals, and you just answered in your question that ROIs and all this, but how do you actually manage it in the real world where cash flow could be an issue, margins could be an issue, copycats could be an issue. So you have a tough job, because on one side you could be the only executive pushing the culture, while 99% of other executives we don't have growth. Tell us more, how do you manage within the given movement?
So, even though we have an incredible purpose that we are humanity in motion, and we formed as a company because we wanted to break the poverty cycle that people are born into, because we believe it's ovary lottery that we're actually born into the families that we're born into, and that actually gives us a kickstart, because then we have education and the means to be where we are today, whereas if we didn't, we would never be where we are. So we have an incredible purpose, like working for an organization with this purpose. What more do you need to motivate you to work days and nights? But because of the pressure of the world, and we just started opening 8 retail stores, and oh my God, like this permits, that permits, discount codes, as everyone was talking about. Online is not doing as well. People want to go back into the in-stores. D2C is killing and cannibalizing our retail stores. And even with all this incredible purpose, we still forget why we're here. So I think what we do at the Given Movement is we keep trying to remind people. So how do you make a person remember something or ingrain something into them, either by trauma or repetition? So obviously we don't want to traumatize our employees, definitely not. But how we do it is through repetition. So constantly repeating the purpose. Why are we here? Always start with the why, like the book of Simon Sinek. So what we do is in all hands, we refer to the why. It's not just about putting it on the wall in the office. No one actually reads anything that is on the wall in the office. I mean, people barely get the time to even look out the window, even if you have a great view. But it's about constantly talking about it. When you're trying to make difficult decisions, refer to the why, the purpose of the business. When you're trying to open a store or get a particular location, or Dubai Mall's rent is so expensive, but is it worth it? You talk about the why. You always constantly talk about the purpose during the good times, during the bad times. Have that repetition when you're thinking about strategy for the coming year, for the next 5 years. Always refer to the why, the purpose, the purpose. Keep repeating it. Never stop repeating it. And that's how you will ingrain it in each and every single person within the organization. It's not just an onboarding thing or putting it on the walls. It's constantly talking and living it.
Are you able to disclose how many people do you guys have working for you, or is this still a
So
secret?
we're above 200 employees right now.
Okay, and so now, this is putting you on the spot, sorry, I forgot the ladies who is from your company name. Nikita. Do you know the why? Is she really repeating the why in every single all hands event?
We do.
You do?
Always.
Yeah? And that drives you like the...
100%.
Oh, see?
So, it's funny.
They do learn something then,
Of course. So, for us, it's a very interesting thing. So, I was having earlier conversations with these incredible women, including yourself. And everyone is fearful of HR, and everyone's like, HR is always given the job to do all the bad, deliver bad news and, take this person's benefits or terminate them or give them this warning. And it's like we're always constantly given the bad job. But when we're constantly reminding ourselves, like Nikita and I do it on an ongoing basis, and even with the entire PD team, we're like, okay, let's put ourselves in their position. Let's think about it from an employee, from a human being perspective. How can we deliver bad news, but with empathy? Because we all are human beings. I mean, sometimes we have to do what we have to do. We need to terminate people if something is not working in terms of innovation. We have to make difficult decisions. This is a business, it's not a charity. Ironically that I say that, but it's true. But it's about delivering all of this not so great news with empathy and treating the opposite person as a human being, which takes time, it takes energy, but invest in that energy because we're human beings. And yeah, I constantly keep saying that, but you can't talk about retail without mentioning retail a million times, so you can't talk about humans without saying human beings.
That's so true, my highlight of last week's, talking about menus and everything. One of the very large developers here in the region, you probably guessed it. I was with also chief people officer, and basically they introduced a policy that they ask do for the phone records when they resign. I was like, is this even legal? So in case they forwarded some contracts, took pictures on the WhatsApp, so maybe the IT system is tracking the documents that you copied. I haven't had to take, I've been running my own company for 10 years, so it's been a long time, since I even thought about taking from someone any document. But I was like, okay, so I thought everyone does take when they, especially if you fire them, they will probably take something, what can you do? So they invented now that you can actually ask do and salat for the WhatsApp or records. If they took a picture, sent it in this IP address. I was like, wow guys, we really do have maybe too much time on our hands, and I was like, are we talking about robots copying or something? I was honestly in shock, I thought I heard a lot of stories, but to your human element, I think we're going less and less and less of the human, So I think, if you keep, as you rightly pointed, so I think that the current generation, they generally not even that driven by money, they're generally more driven by the why factor. So, and I think if maybe retail or bigger, large organizations don't catch up on what maybe you guys are doing it, I think, my kids will, have a 5 and a 7-year-old. I think they will be looking, you will be the next kind of, maybe not Chanel, but like Chanel level where everyone wants to work.
Inshallah.
Okay, definitely, inshallah, yeah? So talking about that, so there's one thing of being human, the empathy, But there's a second side of maybe your world where and we touched in retail, we are innovating, whether we like it, whether we don't. We actually the first industry that sees a trend of where the country, the region is going, right? So whether from consumer behavior, whether from discounting, like we start feeling the recession before the news are feeling the recession, if you like, right? So another element is that constant upskilling, constant keeping up, whether it's paid media latest trends, whether it's AI trends, whether it's a new CRM trends, whether, so we mentioned, some store people need to be trained from the new AI because the consumer is more trendy than our fashion advisors. How do you keep up, what's the Giving Movement's taken about in terms of training the people, keeping them with the trends and making sure that these are, you hear from the ladies earlier, maybe they are now at the top of innovation, but someone in the team also has to innovate and support them. Are you investing in the training, and what do you see maybe the next even 24 months, 36 months hold as a skill set that you need to have? Is it technology? Is it AI? Is it more how to produce the garments? What's the Giving Movement's take on the training side?
So I think the first thing is, the Giving Movement is just over 5 years old, so we are a startup. So what's the number one problem startups have? No budget.
No budget.
So for training and development, I have 0.000 money, right? But times are changing. Every single day there's something new. There's innovation, there's technology, there's AI, and there's a lot of talent gap, as you mentioned. So how do we get people to self-learn? This was the key. Because self-learning is the only way for us to upskill our employees without having to put them on mandatory training and development programs, etc. Because mind you, you might have a huge training budget and send people for training and development, and they may actually not learn anything. Because learning comes from intrinsically. So we thought, okay, we need to motivate people to self-learn. One of the ways to do this is by having a sports team mindset. So at the Giving Movement, we never consider ourselves as a family. We take care of each other, we're human beings and all of that, but no, we are a sports team. And that means, just like in any game, each person needs to be the best at their role. You need to be the best fielder, the best bowler, best cricketer, goalie, defender, whatever it is, best runner, because you only put your best players to represent your country in the World Cup, for example. So that's the same mindset of a business. We want to be the best, right? We want to grow. We want to get to where, Lululemon is, it took them 10 years. We want to get there in 5 years, for example. So each person has to be the best at what they do. If they're not the best at what they do, personal things happen in life, or your performance drops, then you're benched. Just like in any sport, you're given feedback, you're given an opportunity to come back up. If you're unable to come back up, then you're managed out of the business. It's as simple as that. Now, everyone knows if they have to be the best in their roles, they have to keep up with latest trends. Otherwise, they will be benched. Otherwise, they'll be managed out. It's as simple as that, and this is what we do to drive self-learning. Because with AI and innovation and technology, every single day there is something new. And in order to keep up with this is the only way. You need to encourage people to actually self-learn. And in terms of the new skills that are coming up with AI and technology, I think it's quite funny. So you mentioned ChatGPT, the most famous AI tool that everyone uses. It's our counselor, it's our calorie counter, it's our email reworder, you name it. It is everything. But the funny thing is, you can have two people using ChatGPT and asking, with the same problem, but receiving completely different answers. And that's because the new skill is not just using AI, but it is trying to use AI to its maximum capabilities, to learn how to actually manage AI and make AI your assistant rather than you just feeding it information that then Lulu can use against Carrefour and all of that.
Yeah.
But it's about how to maximize and to make it reach its highest capabilities to give you the best results in whatever you're trying to drive. And I think that's one of the biggest skills. we don't have a lack of information anymore. I mean, you have AI cameras in retail stores that are going to tell you, you know, the nationalities of people or the entire, or the footfall, the count, the type of people, customer personas. I mean, oh my God, the amount of information people can get through technology in retail is absolutely insane. But what do you do with all that information? You can have all of this information, but now it's about upskilling your employees or learning the skills of how to process this information with AI, with technology, and the biggest thing is to communicate it. You know, we've been talking about communication for decades, but I think now we have less and less time to actually listen, to actually, you know, meetings cannot go on for hours, workshops cannot go for hours. You need to communicate the most information in the least amount of time possible with the most amount of clarity. This is a difficult skill.
Yeah,
So
I'm still learning that skill.
Exactly, and I think another most important thing which I find so fascinating, and I talk to you know, our leadership team, hoping that they're going to start trickling it down to their teams, is about being effortless. Like, okay, so first, you know, everyone's used to work really hard, and then everyone started saying, okay, you need to work smart. But now I think it's about working effortless. How do you know, achieve an objective with the least amount of effort required? Because when we start thinking like that and our people start behaving like that, then they will start automatically adopting more tools and AI and ways to actually achieve something with the least amount of effort. I mean, Gen Zs, I hope there's not a Gen Z in this. Oh, sorry, there are a few Gen Zs, but you guys are exceptions, okay? But they're not, they don't work like millennials. I mean, for them it's 9 to 6, adios, I need my life, I need my, you know, spa time, whatever it is. So for them, you need to motivate them. I mean, they love effortless because I can get a whole lot of work done in 2 hours and then I'm free to go.
It's funny how you say that, and I have real example of that. So I have a couple, you know, outside Immerse and, you know, Domino's. So outside of the consulting world, I own a couple of e-commerce businesses, and also I have an agency, okay, like paid media agency. 20 people work for the agency, and everyone is like, there's like 3 people above 30, everyone else below. They tell me that we need to do like Friday, like lunch, you know, I need to invite people that I know to motivate them, okay? So this is what we're talking. So I said, well, what would you like to do as a training? They say, Lena, you know so many people, please bring a motivational speaker once a month for Friday lunch, okay? So one of my contacts, you know, like my yoga teacher, you know, I think he's the most zen person in the whole Dubai. The guy is, I think he's very cool. So he starts that, you know, and I'm sitting in the session, I'm listening. So he says, how do you all feel when you go home? Do you like think about work? You know, I mean, it's very zen. I'm sitting, like, where is this going? Anyway, you wouldn't believe half of my employees out of 2010 say, you know, I'm actually really stressed. And you know, I'm like, my personality, I'm like, what? Anyway, I say nothing because the guy said, Lena, if you are gonna give comments, don't go into the session. I was like, okay, where's this going? I was like, why are you stressed? Like, you don't have kids. I'm paying you like double what normal agencies paying. Like, you work like clients. I take, sorry, my language, all shit. You know, like I said, like my job is like I deal the fire and you just deal the very nice clients. I'm going, where is this going? And then, you know, I had to come home. I had lunch, and I just couldn't get rid of work from my mind. I was like, is that what's considered stress? I started, you know, at Goldman Sachs at 18. I was working till 2 a.m., had a driver who drove me home in London, waited for me to shower, and I was expected to be at my desk at 6 a.m. Not one thank you. When I joined Deloitte as a consultant, I was expected to party with a client, drink the same level as a client, and be at 7 a.m. with a client. And my God, if I were to say, you know, I'm hungover, I would have been, I was like, what? The expectation was that I roll 24/7. So when I hear, you know, like to your point, I was like, so the managers who manage the team was, honestly, I'm a terrible manager, so I try to stay away of management. I have my own strengths, but management is not one of them. So my team that manages employees, you know, I get the WhatsApp in the moment. Say nothing, this is not gonna change. So I stand up, I was like, guys, client call, sorry, urgent, have to leave the meeting. And I asked my yoga teacher, I was like, and you know, he says, oh, Lena, you know, such a good bunch of guys, you know, so motivated. I was like, You didn't think that stress comments, however, no, everyone nowadays is stressed, but you should think why they're stressed after work. I was like, them thinking about work while they're having dinner is stressed? Like, my God, let them tell them not to have kids, like, because that's maybe then, we'll be stressed. Anyway, so I definitely aligned because of, wow, we are going there. So anyway, side of the stories, continuing on the AI as this. So we, in an earlier panel, we touched a lot on the ethical, maybe, like we not touched, but maybe shared some stories that we are all looking in the AI, we're all using ChatGPT and so on and so forth. But as a people sort of development, even if the training budget is zero, I'm sure at the leadership side, your role, sometimes everyone else in commercial tells you, no, the ethical side of AI, how they're using it, what they're sharing it, it's on people and people officer, like, I don't know, like, at least that's what I see from my clients, when it comes to the ethical side of using ChatGPT, or, they say, like, be nice to ChatGPT, because then we will train them to be rude to you, so the emails will be rude. So what's the giving movement, like, are you guys looking into this whole, how are you protecting employee data, maybe customer data, that, let's say your CRM executive doesn't just load the whole database of your clients and asks, please segment for me, please segment for the next campaign. Are you looking into the ethical side and the policies of using AI, from the HR side?
I would have actually done something about it. This is well-being. For that situation to have never happened, given feedback to your employees then and there immediately, giving them opportunities to actually improve, to have those open, transparent conversations, that is well-being. So that you don't have the anxiety or the stress about your performance or where your career is going or what is going on at work, or I think my boss hates me, or I hate this job, it's so toxic, there's no human element, I'm just being treated like as if I'm an employee ID or a robot. This is not employee well-being. This causes anxiety, but the opposite to that is well-being. By having open conversations, okay, what is my employee motivated by? What is the ambition or dream of my employee? So for example, we have a person on our team, her ambition is actually to become an RJ, but she's in PD. So what we do is we try to, she works in talent acquisition, we ask her to do all the events and host all the gatherings, employee gatherings, because she's able to develop a skill that will help her achieve her dream. This is well-being. Because she's happy, she's motivated, she sees how her day-to-day job is going to help her achieve her ambition. Employee well-being is about having those open conversations. Okay, Nikita, what do you want to do? Where do you see yourself by the end of this year? Okay, Sabahatt, I see myself as being X or being Y. What do I need to do to get there? Or for me to tell, the employee that we expect you to deliver X, Y, and Z. Have this open, transparent conversations. This is well-being. So I think it's also like the definition of it. So at the Giving Movement, we don't have free lunches. We do just the normal, Christmas and the Eid and the Iftar. We don't have fancy gym memberships or any of the sort. We have transparency. We have no surprises. When a person is terminated, it is not a surprise. They know it's coming. They had ample amount of opportunity and time to actually turn it around. That is what well-being is for us.
So anyone that is looking for a job, I think, we all agree that we should apply, to the Giving Movement, right? What a great closing statement, I think. And I'm definitely going to steal from you this whole, the transparency is actually what the well-being means, because I couldn't agree more, and how many, like my brunch opening quote, for my friends, like everyone starts in Dubai, how much they hate the job. And my opening statement is, please point me one person around this table that loves the job. So you're not, see, so when someone says, oh yeah, they see you own the company, so of course, I always say, I actually love what I do, I hustle like hell, but I love what I do, so, but actually in this region, it's so, like so many people actually hate the job. Yeah. And it's shocking, I compared, like in London, we would go for, I don't know, it's a very pop culture, so on Fridays we all go for drinks. It's very rarely that the person would complain about the job more than a month. After the month they change the job, and we move on, and then they're excited about the new boss, the new company, that maybe in 6 months they again hate the job, but but here, so many people, at least in my friend circle, and even the clients, very few that would say, I actually love what I do, you know? So I think what you just said, you know, it really resonated, definitely, at least with me, that saying, I think we all hate it because there's no transparency, you know? Like we actually, it's not because we don't have free lunches, but because we genuinely don't know where do we stand in this company, you know? And sometimes you get feedback, you know, which is absolutely right. You're like, sorry, where is this coming from, you know? Like I didn't, so I think it's a very powerful statement, definitely going on to my LinkedIn as a quote. Anyway, do we have any questions from the audience? You can ask for a discount, you know, if you still don't own the Giving Movement outfit.
I'll give you an online discount.
Yeah.
Resume box.
Yeah. Yes, we have a show drums.
So good evening, everyone, and ladies, what a conversation. I loved listening to both of you, and whatever you talked about literally touched the heart. So thank you for that. My name is Rihanna. I'm the operations head of Choitrums. So if you ask, you know, responsible for managing 1,400 odd staff, literally, you know, serving the groceries to the floor, picking those products for, and, you know, for the online platforms. So that's what we manage. It's a big challenge, you know, being the people officer. I understand how, my question is to you is, how do you actually get the best people to come into the company? Like, you kind of balance the purpose with the question why, and you talked about training where there's self-learning, you know, that you encourage, and then you have, you know, the ways to make sure that people, you get the best out of the people. Like, how do you make sure that the best people actually come in? Like, the hiring, the DEI aspect of it. How do you take care of that?
So I always say hiring or interviews is like dating. You know, you always put your best foot forward. You're on your best behavior. It's like a date. You actually don't know who the person is. You're taking a complete gamble when you're, you know, hiring a person. So what we do at the Giving Movement is we try to hire people that are gritty. And how do we find out if a person has grit? Because if you have grit, I mean, you can go through hell and back with a smile on your face. And that's what the world is like. This is what the business world is like, especially startup. You need a different kind of skin for that. So we ask questions specifically to understand if they've ever had a situation in their life that has tested them, that they have had to show resilience or any kind of grit. It's crazy to say, but people who have had any kind of hardship in their life, they just turn out to be much stronger. Or any kind of decision that they have made that was, you know, a big decision. It could be something as simple as I left my home country at the age of 18 and came to Dubai, you know, all by myself. That's a big decision because, again, you're showing grit. You never had, you know, your parents to back you up. You made this entire move by yourself, so you do have grit. I'm just giving you a very small example, but grit shapes you up. And if you are gritty, I mean, skills can be taught. As we see, skills are changing every single day. CVs are just, it's nice words put together. It's not actually real. LinkedIn profiles is just, you know, if you're lucky to work in great companies, great, you look appealing for potential recruiters. But grit is what matters to us. This is how we hire. And by these questions, you can tell when someone's faking it or when someone's being real, when they're actually talking to you about grit, specifically about experiences they have endured in their life. This is something you cannot fake because you can't just make up an entire thing in a split second. But that's how we do it.
Anyone else? Yeah?
Yeah, no, we need a mic.
Hi, hello everyone, my name is Vishesh. I'm the Director at Global Expansion for Fine. It's only been a year since I moved to Dubai, so guilty of not owning anything from the Giving Movement. But I've always been very intrigued with purpose-driven brands, so with the likes of Allbirds and Patagonia's. Never been up close with anyone senior from the company, so I always had this question in my mind. How do you measure the impact beyond the financial metrics? I mean, for a purpose-driven brand, that one thing becomes a core, right? So beyond the financial metrics, what is that drives you to measure profitability without those numbers coming in?
So you're talking about measuring profitability because of what we stand for.
Yeah.
You cannot measure that. It's who we are. So I think companies like Patagonia, like the Given Movement, these are our values. It doesn't matter if it's going to help convert a customer to purchase from the Given Movement because we raise money for, charities. It doesn't matter to us because this is just who we are and what we stand for. This is our why, this is our value, and that's it. So we never, yes, we do custom analysis where we're like, okay, so was this a reason for your purchase? But even if a majority of people say no, it doesn't mean that we're going to change who we are. This is what we are and this is what we stand for. Whether people like it or not, whether it helps in profitability, whether it helps in conversion, it doesn't matter because this is just who we are as a business. I think we need to be very strong with who we are and our values, and this is what we do.
Yeah, and if you bring more and more investors, like in the startups, unfortunately sometimes even the scale sways to the forget the values, Like so sometimes it's so hard to fight, I agree.
Look, all that amount of money that we have raised, so we've raised over 29 million dirhams just in that 5 years. That's a lot of money. That money could have been reinvested into the business, right? Because we're a startup. We're running on funding.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Dominic Noel Barnes, who is our founder, as I said, the reason why the business exists is to break the poverty cycle that people have been born into. So no matter, we don't want investors that don't believe in our why. This is just who we are. We have it in our name. We are the Given Movement. We're never going to change this about us. And Dom has been very, very strong on this, which is just remarkable.
Yeah, awesome. Any more questions?
I think that's a good note to start.
So I think, you go and buy it because, even if you don't care about the t-shirt or shorts, you are donating to a much bigger purpose, okay? All right, round of applause. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful conversation. Thank you, Sabahatt. And
You are amazing. I love this energy. Thank you so much. And
we
thank
take
you, dear
the picture. We take the picture.